Hey, everybody. Yeah, I thought I'd get out here and give you a little bit of encouragement today as I was sitting here thinking on things above and um, things that are about to come and praying without ceasing and talking to my best friend. I'm reminded that it's Tuesday. So, thinking on Tuesdays, I don't know how much many of you know about the traditional customs of a Jewish wedding. So I just wanted to break it down a little bit and make it kind of simple because it's like so prophetic to like right now. And if you have your spiritual antennas on, and your ears will perk up and you'll understand what's happening. So I'm just sharing a little bit, and from what I know, when a man becomes of age back in the day, people traveled far and wide because they didn't have fast cars or anything back then. Um, he would want to get married. Dad would put out some kind of notice all across the kingdoms that his son wanted the fairest of all maidens to be presented before his son, and so he could choose a bride. And they would come from all these kingdoms and pray and hope that he would choose her. So the young man would decide and choose his bride, and then what would happen is the father of the groom to be and the father of the bride to be would all get together and they would write up some kind of what you would call it a contract or a dossier or something along that lines where everybody had to agree as far as the father of the bride to be wanted to make sure that his daughter would be very well taken care of, and they even planned like how many children they would have, pets, etc. And so everything would be exposed as far as what the young man's family had to offer, the young woman's family, and the young woman to make sure that she had a great life. Because this was a contract, it was binding and you couldn't break it. So, after and if they all agreed on this, then they would sign this and seal it until that time. All right, so now the bride knows that, whoa, I'm engaged, and she goes back to wherever she came from, and and she's just not sitting around because now she knows that, wow, I'm fixing to get married, and I got preparations to do, so I'm sure she's getting everything ready as far as having clothes made and gowns made and flowers and hair and everything she's wanting for her elaborate, special, beautiful day that she's going to have and live happily ever after. So she's busy occupying, right, and preparing for this time and knowing that no, what happened as far as the agreement and the young man, what he's got to do is because of the fact that, he has to take care of what kind of house they're going to have and everything else, piece of land, and he's got to build it. So if she came like from a fancy house, you would have to build a fancier house. So it had to be bigger and better than what she had, and the details were more intricate. And the young man, wanting, of course, to please his beautiful bride to be, would make sure that every detail was covered and everything was perfect. And then when it was all perfect and it was all done, he would call his dad and ask for his stamp of approval. And Dad would look around, check things out, and if he saw that they were perfect and perfected, then he would look at his son and say, go get your bride. In which case, the young man would put an entourage together to go and get the bride and her family. And now the bride is already, right during this time, preparing. Everything's made, everything's done by now. And she's watching and she's waiting and she's knowing, probably in her spirit, that he's zooming going to arrive, it's got to be done by now, right? Or pretty close to it. So she's feeling it. Then, so she's not caught unawares at all because she's watching. So then all of a sudden there's some kind of gift of gold that's given to the bride and sent to the bride that she retrieves the night before the entourage shows up. So now she knows that the entourage is coming the next day. So she better be ready. She ain't got no time to be ready. She's ready. Of course she's ready. This is a big day. There's a contract. It's sealed. It can't be broken. So all of a sudden, when the entourage shows up, she runs out to meet it. She gets in it and she goes back to where the wedding's going to be. And during this time, they're having, the bachelor party for the soon coming groom. And this whole time partying with him for his last days of singleness, I guess. Um, and when she arrives in her chariot, then he meets her and they walk into. Now, I know that there's another name for it, so feel free to leave it for me in the description box. So instead of trying to slaughter the name, I'll call it the wedding chamber. And for 7 days, they consummate the marriage. And when they come out, everybody's celebrating and partying this whole time, and they're ecstatic about everything. And they have a ceremony, and then they have this really big wedding feast. And then this goes on for days, and they have quite the party and the celebration. So I don't know if many of you knew this, but I'm not going to add anything or take away anything to the story. I'll just let the Holy Spirit work. And I'll just say that this is Debbie from Texas. And peace out. Let's keep looking up, everybody. The King is coming. Our soon coming bridegroom. Titus 2:13. Our blessed hope. Our only hope. He's at the door.